Well, it's a long journey we're talking about to the door. And for me it started off with a vision that I had. And if you look at the card called Vision, it's card number 2, you'll see I describe what a vision is and some of the main visions that I've had. And one of the greatest ones of them was the vision of the face of God, the face of God. And so the face of God looked a lot like this, It was a circular shield, a bronze shield with, it didn't have the spears behind it. I've just added that because to show that it's protecting the doorway, because I did not know that the shield was the door. I did not know the shield was the door. I thought the shield was the face of God. That's what I thought. And I knew it was the spirit world presenting me with a vision of God the Father. This was God the Father, and they do say that nobody has seen God. And your connection, if you're ever brought to God, you don't see God directly as a person, you just see God as a symbol. And this was what I saw, was the face of God the Father. Okay. And I can't recall the exact sequence of events or when these things happened, but there came a time, it wasn't too far on the journey. It was early in the journey, perhaps 3 years into the journey. I had a major initiation after 3 years, a very, very big one, and I can't remember the exact details of all of the ins and outs of it, but one of the things that was the vision of the door, that was it. That was the first vision that I ever had. And the other was the coming of the words, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are one. Now these are the words that Jesus was able to say. And if you pass through the same initiation that he did, then you're able to also say these words, because Jesus said, greater things must you do, all of you little sons and daughters of God, becoming. Okay, so I had this picture of God, the vision of God kind of burnt into my brain, and I remember not being able to see, was it a shield, I knew it was bronze, I did not know, and it's circular like that, because often the vision comes as in a circle, like an oval shape, and so it looked like a shield, but I didn't see it, an actual shield, I didn't see the detail of it. It was just the face of God in bronze. That's what I saw. Okay. So many years later, okay, I had to go through all sorts of steps on the way, years and years of wandering the world, through many countries, or either on foot or by bicycle, sometimes catching a coach if I needed to cross over from England to Europe, sometimes being taken in a van, this kind of thing, long journey. And eventually I met my divine partner after having many divine couple initiations leading me up to, which were not really my partner, but there were initiations leading up to me finally meeting my partner. Okay, and I discuss this in other parts of the cards in more detail. And so, and I've been a couple, divine couple, on the couple journey. I haven't counted it up, but it's about 15 years, something like that, about 15 years. It's a long time, and a lot of that 15 years, most of it I've spent away from my lady, because I have work to do, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing work here away from my lady, and she has her work to do too. And so we have to prove that we're walking under the will of God, because we're not trying to get to each other. We're waiting until the universe pulls us together again for the next step of work together. Okay. And I had to travel to Germany and Glastonbury, and Germany also, and other parts of England, the Herefordshire here, not far from here, where I had been living with a travellers community for a while, and a yurt dwelling community for a while also. I'm just being told I don't need to give the details. And so I moved between these two places as a divine couple. There was many years I spent in the UK and travelling Europe, trying to become a divine couple, on the journey to being a divine couple, yet not yet achieving it. Many, many years. It's a dog that takes so long. Yet you have to learn many lessons of the couple on the way before you're ready to meet your divine other half, your twin flame. Yeah, because there are soulmates and twin flames, and soulmate is my wife said she thought she was my soulmate. Yeah, but that's not a twin flame. Twin flame's something else. Okay, so when I met my lady Elizabeth, is her name, she used to be doing journeys from Jena, which is a place of Goethe and Schiller, to Eisenach, which is a place of the Holy Elizabeth. She used to do regular pilgrimages between these places, and in between, in the middle, is Weimar. So and that's where the statue of Goethe and Schiller is. And at Jena, the university that they created is in Jena. And so you've got these, like the middle, the right and the left. And to the far right, you've got Dresden, where the fires were. That's the fireplace. Okay. And so Eisenach, if you stand in the position of God the Father on the world map, which is the world, then on your right hand is the west, and on your left hand is the east. And so Dresden is on the left hand of the Father, and Eisenach is on the right hand of the Father. Eisenach is a mountain of light, and Dresden is a place of fire, a low level lying with a river. The opposites, yeah. Jena is sort of fairly close, in the same sort of area, also low lying on a river, the river Saar, and Eisenach, as I said, it's a mountain with a castle, Castle Wartburg, the place of the troubadours. It's like the Glastonbury of Europe, is what it is. That's what it is. And so I used to do the Herefordshire. I used to do a Herefordshire to Germany trip to see my lady, and then back to there. And after I became Abbot of Glastonbury, I used to do Glastonbury to Germany a number of times, and I went to do pilgrimages to see the Cathar sites and all sorts of things like this I would do as little side projects, and I would always go back to Glastonbury. Okay, and my big work that I did in Glastonbury to become the Abbot of Glastonbury really was the 2007 Summer of Love Sunrise Festival. And as a result of that work, and my work there, the bronze dragon statue was installed on that place. Okay, bronze dragon statue, like a spiral dragon. And it's probably the most important statue in Glastonbury, I would say, the most important statue in Glastonbury. And it's right in the courtyard of the Library of Avalon, which is a centre of divinity in the whole of this part of Europe, yeah. The Library of Avalon. It's right outside the crystal shop, but it's really positioned in the library. The crystal shop man put it there. Yeah, it's really part of the Library of Avalon. That's what it is. That's where it stands. Okay. Now that was a sign of things were coming. At the same time, about the same time, the labyrinth, the Glastonbury labyrinth outside the Church of St. John appeared. Somebody was called to build that. That's also a sign of my work that I did in Glastonbury at this time. These are objects that I earned for Glastonbury, in my time Glastonbury. And when I left Glastonbury, there was a sacred tree in Glastonbury. And it was only a matter of weeks after I left, and on my final leaving of Glastonbury for the last time, when somebody else took over my job as abbot of Glastonbury, they cut down the holy thorn, Glastonbury's holy thorn, this ancient thorn that had been standing on weary all, I'm wearied of a lot of you, God says, weary all hill. Somebody went and cut this thing down, and this was a sign, it was all over. It's all over now, baby blue. Okay, that's when I moved, that's when I left. That's when I left that place, Glastonbury, and went to Germany. The highway is for gamblers, better use your sense. Take what you have gathered from coincidence. Okay, I started in the wrong key. I already made a mistake there again. I'm not going to play this. It's finished, that song. Okay. Because at that time I also was finished playing music, really. I stopped playing, I lost my guitar, it was taken from me. And so if I did any music, I did it on a little flute thing that I had. And it was only just to tweet the people to say, I'm hungry, feed me. I couldn't say that. I would play my flute a bit. And somebody would come and say, oh, you want to come for a cup of coffee? Or here's a fiver or something like that. So that's how I got by. Living in poverty, chastity and obedience as the abbot of Glastonbury. Okay. Now, Elizabeth, who was living in Vienna, took me a number of times over to Eisenach, where the Castle Wartburg is. But the other thing that they have over in Eisenach, on the other side of Eisenach, opposite it, is a place called the Student Monument. And this is a monument celebrating freedom of the student freedom movement, okay, in East Germany. And it's the opposite pole of an altar which has got the Wartburg on one side and that on the other. Okay. The Wartburg is the dark side and the Student Monument is the light side. Now, there's not much at the Student Monument. And I didn't go there for a while, but eventually went to Student Monument to visit it. And I think I went there on my own actually the first time. I just found it one day, went up there. And I knew this guy who was the caretaker of it. I met him. He was the ex-chief of police of Eisenach. And he told me that he was caretaking the Student Monument. And I was welcome to come up and have a look. So one day I found myself walking up there to the student monument, and when I got to the door of the student monument, I couldn't believe my eyes. Could not believe my eyes. It was the most amazing thing I ever found on the way, because what I was looking at was the face in my vision. In reality, the real face of it, it's exactly the same as what I saw in my vision. And it was a door. It was the door to the student monument. Now I'm going to put that picture of that face that I saw in the door up on the screen now. Okay? Right. Okay, so that was an amazing experience, and I went home to Elizabeth. I said, Elizabeth, you have no idea, you have no idea. This was like really, really, really profound. It was crazy. I'd just actually seen, for the first time in my life, something I saw in a vision as a real object in my future, that I would be seeing something in my future. So this makes both events more profound. And you know, you walk around thinking about it for a while and you just forget about it, because life goes on and you move on, and it's a big thing that happened to you. Yet, you know, there's other things to do. And what I always used to do was, I always used to do photographic exhibitions together with the initiations that I was going through, because I was going through many, many levels on the way. Every year I would go through a level or a number of levels in a year. Because it's a full-time job, you can do stuff rapidly. Yeah. And so the years went by and I forgot about the student monument. I knew it was there, yeah. It was just something that I experienced about this, and a lot of years passed and a lot of other initiations that I went through. Travelled all over the world by bicycle, huge journeys, you know, thousands and thousands of miles. The final one, I actually went to Africa and rode a bicycle all the way from Germany to over the Alps into Italy, across the whole of Europe to the extreme west to Porto in Portugal, then down round the coast to and over to Morocco, right through the Sahara Desert on a bicycle. I have no idea, no money, just a guitar, no money, and all the way to the Gambia, yeah. And so I did all this, finally got back to England here, got given this house and everything, and just, I think it was last year or the year before, probably just the year before actually now, because we're now in another year, but just over a year ago I went over to visit Elizabeth in the winter, and I made an exhibition, a photographic exhibition, and what happened was I was at the time I was interested in blacksmithing. And we were talking about blacksmithing. I was looking for a blacksmith to do some kind of work. I don't know what it was. It was I'd actually promised the Africans that I'd get blacksmithing into Africa, and so bring it back to Africa. And so I'd been kind of interested in, are there people interested in doing this? I can't do it because I'm not a blacksmith, but maybe I could find blacksmiths to do it. So this was leading me all the way to be interested in blacksmiths. Yeah. And anyway, I met this. Elizabeth found this lady artist, and she knew this blacksmith. She was also interested in blacksmithing, and so she invited us to go and have a look at the blacksmith's. She said his blacksmith's got a special place where it's like almost like a museum of all the stuff that his family produced over the years, and it turns out he's a famous blacksmith who did a lot of blacksmithing in the town of Eisenach, but also in all parts of Germany, I think. He was a master. He was one of the greatest, probably the greatest blacksmith of that time, yeah. And he was dead. I don't know whether it was his father or grandfather or something, but it ran through the family, and they were a wealthy family, a well-to-do. And the guy who was looking after the place was him and his wife, and he was in his, I think, in his 80s probably. And so anyway, it took me to meet this guy, and it was like meeting when I met John McDonnell. It was like I couldn't speak any German to him hardly, and he couldn't he didn't speak any English at all, so he couldn't make himself known. That I asked him if I could take photographs of his place, because I thought his place was amazing, and so I started to photograph his place. And this is I'll put up the first photograph I took of this guy. Yeah, so me and him, we got very friendly, even though we couldn't communicate much with each other. And it turns out that his father or grandfather was the blacksmith who made the door. The door, the student monument. I couldn't believe it. How can this be happening to me? Yeah, how can this be happening to me? And so I said to him, I told him about the vision, and I told him about the finding the door and all the rest of it. And I don't know if he understood it at all. It was a little bit in German. I had a term in German. And so I ended up calling my exhibition The Door. The Door was the exhibition, and I wanted to photograph the student monument door up there together with his work and him as a blacksmith, and his blacksmith's workshop and everything, because the blacksmith workshop, this was his father's workshop and his grandfather's workshop and his workshop, and he was the last of the generations, and the workshop, although it was still there, it could fall into disrepair quite easily, and it's something that really should be preserved. It's very, very important to preserve this place, and it's only him who's the last, it's only him who's interested in it. So I thought by making this series of photographs of him and his work and all that, that maybe something could come of it, that the town might get interested in preserving all of this. And so I made all these photographs and got them all finished off and sorted and made into exhibitions, about 80 photographs, something like that. And some of Manet and myself and some friends, and we were all involved in discovering it, and they made the artist and him and his lady, and all of the works of his works and his family's works, yeah. And I knew that he'd made special works on the Wartburg, Castle Wartburg, and yeah, he had famous works all over the place. And I thought, well, this is just one of the works that this door, and I thought, this is his masterwork, this is amazing work, this is a masterwork here. I had no idea how they went about making something like this door. But anyway, I got all the photos finished, and I went to take them to him and show him the pictures. And at that point of time, he wanted to show me some more stuff. And so we went down into his workshop again, having, I'd finished the exhibition and got it ready, given him the photos, gave him all the photos on his laptop. And anyway, I ended up taking some more pictures, like sort of friends. And he took a picture, I took a picture of him, and he took a picture of me, and I'll put the two pictures up now. In his workshop, in his blacksmith's workshop. Anyway, so this was all happening, and it's funny, I just noticed the numbering of these videos, because the very first video number of this series of videos making up this one video, the door, is number 1300, 1300. And 13 is the number of a group, and this is a big group thing that's going on here, because there's me and my lady as a couple, there's him and his lady as a couple, and then there's this other artist lady as a kind of a student. Yeah, it's a very interesting group that we've got going here in this special house. Yeah, and so it's a 13, and we're now up to the video that I just made now. Is called 1310. That's the one where we took the pictures, the final pictures of me and him and that. And that's the number, 10 is the number of mastery. So at this point, I completed my exhibition. I was a master. This was my master work, to become what I was doing, to master whatever it was that I was doing on this step of the journey. You have to create a masterwork for every step. And this was my masterwork for this step. And then he said to me, yeah, come here. I want to show you. He said, it's all in German. I don't understand, and I'm sort of looking at stuff. I think I'll take a picture of this and that. And I took a few pictures while he's digging away. You know, he's digging away under this bench somewhere. And like, this is like an Aladdin's cave, just like full of stuff everywhere. Yeah, it's just like metal objects, all under metal objects. And he digs a whole pile of stuff away. He says, yeah, comes. And he drags this thing out, and he sticks it out there. And I don't even know what it is. I'm looking at it, what the hell is this thing? Yeah, I'll show you what he dug out now. Yeah, so I'm looking at this thing in front of me, and I said, what the hell is this thing? I'm looking at this thing, and I said, my God, is this the thing that was used to make the door? Yeah, this is the plug that was used to form the face in the door. This is the actual piece of God. The original God on the other side of the doorway, behind the doorway. Yeah, behind the doorway. Man. This is profound. I have no idea what my mind is going through at this point. So I have to photograph this. I needed. It was terribly difficult to get the light. Hardly any light in there, but. And I knew I needed to get this photograph perfect. This had to be my master work in the whole of the exhibition, and it was. I mean, it doesn't look much on the video, just on the screen there like that. But it's a great picture. It's just tone. That's all it is, just tone. And it doesn't matter that it's a great picture. It's what it was that was amazing. This thing has been sitting there. Nobody's ever seen it before, right? This is something you use to make the thing, yeah. First you have to make that, then you've got to make the other part, you know. And this had been sitting there. Of course, it took you so long to make the thing, you can't throw it away. You might use it again one day if something happened to the door, you know, if lightning struck it or something, they might ask you to make another one. I don't know, you'd need the plug. So the plug is a master object, yeah, that's used to make things. It was just so profound experience. Never had anything like it in my life before. Having started from this vision of it, and then worked through all these steps to get to this point, yeah. And so yeah, so I photographed it, took it away, and put it. This became the main piece, major piece, together with the first picture I showed you of the door exhibition. And so we'd unravelled the mystery of the door in this way. And this man is so amazing, the way his hands move on the way, because he has to blacksmith. A blacksmith is moving all the time. He's a master of moving on the way. You have to understand that I'm the master of the philosophical movement inside, but he's the absolute master of the physical movement on the outside. So we're like perfect opposite couples, the two of us, two couples. And he just seemed to be able to produce whatever it was. I mean, it wasn't just one of these things. He'd always just produce something at the right time, show you something, point something out. He was able to find what was needed next all the time. Because he'd be doing this all his life. He'd have to find the next piece of metal. Which is the metal that fits under here? Oh yeah, that one, mine in the corner. You know, bang, 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 and so on and so forth. And so, and just how to hit something so it comes out in the right form. Just amazing, amazing thing, blacksmiths. And we've my association with blacksmithing, I have so much respect for this as a master trade, yeah, master art, really. And this is art blacksmithing. This isn't just normal blacksmithing. This is blacksmithing for the sake of blacksmithing. This is a blacksmithing art. This is the highest art of blacksmithing I've ever come across in my entire life. And it's so be it for the job it had to do in terms of having visions and seeing objects and so on, and how many years it took for this stuff to manifest. I'm supposed to take 5 now. I'll take 5. Yeah, so having experienced all these long series of events in my life, and I'd been prepared for what God was going to tell me next, okay, and so after a little sleep and a meeting with God, when I woke up having undergone that final part of the initiation, I was then able to say, I am the door, okay? And so this is over a year ago, just over a year ago now, and that was the door initiation, okay? And now we're doing the Guild Master initiation. That's what all these cards are about. And this is my master work for the Guild Master. And the Guild Master initiation is something to do with, like, the guild is like a group, yeah? And hopefully, I don't know, these people, hopefully somehow God brings all these people together into some form of group. Without organisation, I don't know how this will even be possible. But we just have to wait and see, and we don't even need to trust, because your Father knows what you need before you ask. You just have to move from one card to the next and just do whatever you're told, and everything will become clear in the end, and then a little mud, and then some clarity again. Okay. Right. Now, there's one final picture, final piece of information which is very profound, and that is that there's another work, a metal sculpture work, right on the front of the house as a sign of the house. It is the house object on the masonry of the house to say that this is what house this is, okay? And if we go back to John McDonnell's vision, it was Adam and Eve who reincarnated back on the planet and saved humanity from its trials and tribulations, brought back the pathway of salvation and helped mankind to rejuvenate itself. And so I'll show you the picture, or the object that is on the outside of the house of this blacksmith's place. I'll put it up now. Yeah, so you can see that that's Adam and Eve in the garden there. That's what the house is. And so we come full circle. And the other interesting thing that I only just thought of now, really, whilst I'm making this video, is that in the beginning of this journey, of the couple journey, really, the beginning of the couple journey, it's a long, long journey, 20 years. The beginning of this journey, I had to help a master, an older master, with what he was doing, okay? I had to help that master to get that initiation, to start the couple journey going, yeah? To do something for somebody else. And right at the end of the journey, of the couple, I have to help another older master, another kind, the opposite kind of a master, not a philosophical master, a blacksmithing master, okay? And by going through that test, will I help that person, having delivered everything that I needed to deliver to him, all the photographs and that, the exhibition, then he came up with this object to say, here, you've got your mastery now, you've got your wings, okay? And God confirmed that. And so I am the door, and there have been other people who were the door, because nobody gets to the Father except they come by me. That's what the door is. There's no way to the Father except via me, all right? And my works, all right? And so all it means is that all these videos that I've made, these cards, they're a required course for salvation. You can't get back to the garden except you complete this course of study, okay? And whilst I was doing the other video, I wrote some names on the card here, because I looked at the face and I thought, that face doesn't look anything like the face I saw in my vision. That looks more like Takuti. Because Takuti was the ancestral spirit, like Adamai of Light, that I worked with the Maori people when I was helping to save the Maori people. And I produced a big book for them that is to help with their salvation, okay? And Takuti was the ancestor that I worked with, and he was the door. He was the door for their people at that time. And then in the beginning, Enoch, the prophet Enoch was the door. The time the watchers all went out, you read the book of Enoch. And I've been studying, just got the book of Enoch just a few months ago. I got the book of Enoch again, and I've been studying Enoch again. And my most recent studies have involved, although I've been studying this I got this about over a year ago, about the same time as the door, I got this. And John of Salisbury, he was the door also. People had to study what he wrote to get to salvation, yeah? And so, for me to get to through my initiation of salvation, I had to study John of Salisbury, right? I had to study, well, that's me, I had to study Enoch, right? I had to study Takuti many years ago. I studied his whole life story. Takuti died when his wheel fell off his car, and he had to go and fix it underneath, and his cart fell on top of him. That's how Takuti went out. Very sudden blow to the head. Wouldn't have even known. Probably the easiest way to go out. He killed many people, Takuti, so he probably hit a lot of people over the head. They have this kind of like a Maori adze, it's like a cross between a hammer and an axe. He would have killed a lot of people with this. And so Adamai of Light, who's not me, it's me and my lady. Adamai of Light is the ancestral spirit, who is the door. It's not me, it's the Adonai of light is an angel, yeah. And so these are the cards of Adonai of light, who I a representative of, yeah. And these are the cards that you need to achieve salvation in this age. You can use all the other stuff from the past too, yet you will need to study this stuff. When I was 20 years ago, there was a course in miracles. This was a required course for salvation in my time. 20 years ago, you had to read the Course in Miracles. So it's no different to a Course in Miracles, really. It's a required course, and so that's what the door is. Nobody gets to the Pastures of Plenty except they go via the door. And if they don't study the teachings of the door, then when they get to the door, God the Father says, I never knew you. Thanks for watching. Right, well, what we want to do is pick a card for the next video. So congratulations if you got through, past the door and all that stuff. And let's have a look at the next card. You can put the door back, and here we go. We're doing the cards by division, taking some and discarding them. And what we're left with is a card of the next video, and if you want to see that video, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get a notification in your feed when that video is released. See, I got told not that, just not that, not that, okay. Not that. Alright, there's various ways these cards can be done. Wow, okay, the position. Alright, the position. And so you see I have the position. I have the position of the door, alright? See how God tells you that this is coming from God, that it's not me talking. And so, are we going to do this? Yes, we're going to talk about the position. Are we? Let's see. I think we are, because we're zoomed in. Normally if we're zoomed in, we're going to be doing it. So this card is both a confirmation of my position as Guild Master and Door. Isn't this terrible? And well, it's a long journey, you know, and you also can become this. This can be you in 25 years' time. That's all it takes is 25 years. You can get any of these positions that I'm on. Greater things must you do. It's as simple as that. Greater things must you do. This never changes. The wisdom never changes over the ages. So, we're going to talk about the position a bit more in this card. Okay, now we just got a little note. Okay, doesn't matter. Right, so coming up, next video.